Welcome to another eye-opening episode of History Unraveled. Today we are diving into a controversial topic that has shaped the geopolitical landscape of an entire continent: why Europeans put borders in Africa, yet there are seemingly no borders in Europe. Buckle up, because we are about to embark on a journey through time and across continents that will challenge your perspective on global politics and colonialism. Let's start with some mind-blowing facts about this historical conundrum. Did you know that the borders of many African countries were drawn up in just a few months during the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885? European powers, sitting comfortably in their plush chairs thousands of miles away from Africa, carved up the continent like a Thanksgiving turkey, with little regard for the diverse ethnic groups, languages, and cultures that existed there for centuries. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, don't European countries have borders too? Well, yes and no. While European nations do have official borders, the concept of free movement within the European Union has essentially erased many of these lines on the map. It's a stark contrast to the rigid, often arbitrary borders imposed on African nations. But why did this happen? To understand this, we need to take a step back and look at the bigger picture of European colonialism. In the late 19th century, European powers were in a race to claim as much of Africa as possible, driven by a mix of economic greed, political rivalry, and a misguided sense of cultural superiority. This scramble for Africa led to the creation of borders that often split ethnic groups and ignored existing political structures. Here is a fact that'll make your jaw drop. Some of these borders were drawn using nothing more than a ruler and a map. Imagine drawing lines on a continent you've never even visited. It's like dividing up your neighbor's house without ever stepping foot inside. The result? Borders that cut through communities, separated families, and created artificial nations with no historical or cultural basis. Now let's contrast this with Europe. The borders within Europe have evolved over centuries of wars, treaties, and cultural exchanges. They generally reflect linguistic and cultural boundaries that developed organically over time, and with the formation of the European Union, many of these borders have become more symbolic than functional. But here's where it gets really interesting. While Europeans were busy dividing up Africa, they were also laying the groundwork for their own unity. The same century that saw the Berlin Conference also saw the beginnings of what would eventually become the European Union. Talk about irony. Let's dive into some more facts that'll blow your mind. Did you know that the border between Nigeria and Cameroon was partially determined by a mountain that doesn't actually exist? Or that the straight-line borders in the Sahara Desert were drawn without any consideration for the nomadic peoples who had been crossing these areas for centuries? These arbitrary borders have had long-lasting consequences for Africa. They've contributed to countless conflicts, economic challenges, and political instabilities that continue to this day. Meanwhile, Europe has been moving towards greater integration, with the Schengen Agreement allowing free movement across much of the continent. But before we wrap up, let us be clear, this isn't about painting Europe as the villain and Africa as the victim. History is complex, and the story of borders, both in Africa and Europe, is intertwined with broader narratives of imperialism, nationalism, and globalization. So what can we learn from this stark contrast between African and European borders? Perhaps it's a reminder of the power of unity and the dangers of imposing artificial divisions. Maybe it is a call to reconsider how we think about borders and national identities in an increasingly interconnected world. As we conclude this episode, I hope you've gained a new perspective on the complex history of borders in Africa and Europe. Remember, understanding our past is crucial to shaping a better future. So the next time you look at a map, take a moment to consider the stories behind those lines. You might be surprised at what you discover. Thanks for joining us on this journey through history. If you found this video enlightening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more mind-bending historical insights. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep unraveling the mysteries of our world.